In this breakdown, I want you to really picture something vividly with me. Imagine, you're on a very long, incredibly exhausting journey. The elements are just harsh, the road stretches out endlessly in front of you, and you are literally bone tired. But then, suddenly, just as the sun dips down and that evening chill sets in, you stumble across a roadside inn. But wait, this isn't just some random makeshift shelter. You walk through the doors and you're instantly hit by this atmosphere of just profound warmth. The owner of this inn has meticulously prepared a room specifically for you. There's a fire crackling in the hearth, a hot, beautifully prepared meal just waiting on the table, and honestly, every single comfort you could possibly need for the night has already been anticipated and provided. You feel entirely taken care of, perfectly accommodated. Just take a second to really hold on to that feeling of being a deeply valued guest.
But see, experiencing this level of care forces a pretty logical question, right? Will they just forget you in one night? I mean, think about the sheer effort that innkeeper actually went through. The careful planning of the meals, the architecture of the warm room, the precise attention to your comfort. Would an innkeeper who goes to such astonishing lengths to provide for you just for one single evening simply toss you out the next morning and completely forget you ever existed? No way. Or does that immense, deliberate care imply something else entirely? Doesn't it suggest that the innkeeper has a much grander, far more permanent plan for you? It totally defies logic to think such overwhelming hospitality is just some fleeting, meaningless accident. There absolutely has to be a deeper purpose behind that level of care.
So this actually brings us to a really profound pivot in the source material we're looking at today. It introduces what's known as the sixth truth. And what this truth does is it takes that warm, cozy metaphor of the roadside inn and maps it directly onto our existential reality right here on Earth, what it calls this guest house of a world. Now, when you look at the world through this specific lens, things change. The air we breathe, the water that perfectly quenches our thirst, the incredibly precise distance of the sun to keep us warm without, burning us to a crisp, all of it stops looking like random background noise. Instead, it starts looking exactly like that perfectly prepared room. The Earth itself is the inn, and suddenly the hospitality we experience every single day takes on a completely different, deeply intentional meaning.
The sixth truth is actually built upon 9 fundamental truths, but let's just start with these 2 foundational ideas. First, just like that roadside inn couldn't have just built itself from random wood and stone falling out of the sky, the world didn't just appear by itself. It is a guest house built with profound, deliberate wisdom. Everything is perfectly balanced for life to exist and pass through. And second, we're merely guests here. We aren't the permanent owners of the inn, we're just transients, travelers on that long journey. But here's the kicker. The care we receive here is actually an invitation. According to the text, our Lord is using this temporary hospitality to invite us to the ultimate realm of peace. The earth is basically a meticulously designed way station meant for living beings to get a little taste of what's yet to come.
Now this totally shifts our perspective from this feeling of intimate comfort to something truly expansive and honestly awe-striking. Think about it. If this temporary inn, the Earth, is this complex, this beautiful, and this carefully orchestrated for a stay of just a few decades, well, then it literally cannot be the final destination. The short stay on Earth is merely a preparation. It's just the very first step of a much greater eternal hospitality. The care you experience here, that's really just the innkeeper checking your coat at the door before guiding you into the grand banquet hall. It completely reframes the entire human experience. It takes it from a random, fleeting existence and turns it into an active, ongoing invitation to something totally permanent.
The source material actually grounds this whole metaphor in a specific passage from the Quran, specifically Surah Al-Hijr. We have spread out the earth and created therein means of living, both for you and for those whose sustenance does not depend on you. I want you to just pause for a second and think about the sheer scale of that statement. This grand orchestrated guest house of Earth doesn't just provide for you or your family or, even just humanity as a whole. It provides a perfectly balanced ecosystem for absolutely everyone and everything. The birds, the deep-sea creatures, the tiny microbes in the soil, beings whose sustenance you have absolutely no hand in providing. The ultimate innkeeper manages the infinite logistics of this massive, global guest house flawlessly, every single second of every single day. Which really brings us to our final thought for today. Consider the hospitality woven into the very fabric of your daily life. The sunlight on your face, the food that sustains you, the air that literally fills your lungs. I really want you to ask yourself, could the hospitality shown to you right here, in this temporary roadside inn, be a sign of a much greater eternal care?
If someone is looking after you this well while you're just out on the road, what must they have prepared for you at home? Keep that question in your mind as you navigate the guest house of this world today.